Welcome to Mindfulness Lists. Chapter 2 of A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Ego, the current state of humanity. You know what I say, no brain, no pain. Ego. So I'll go back. Eckhart Tolle's definition of the ego is identification with form. Thought forms, emotional forms, the senses, anything we identify with. Ego. So in the starting of the chapter, and I quote, he says, all we can perceive, experience, think about is the surface layer of reality, less than the tip of an iceberg. The thing I love about Eckhart Tolle is he walks the walk. You see this guy and it just, I've never been in the presence of somebody to where like you hear of people and they say, oh, when I met my guru, I fell down and I saw a halo above his head. But I kind of do have that experience the times I've watched Eckhart Tolle, you sit there and you listen to him and it is just the most incredible mother's milk, the stuff this guy talks about. And the thing that's awesome about it is it's something that's totally discoverable. I like to use certain words. I don't like to use the word attain. I don't think there's anything to attain. I think you have to walk the walk. You can't be out trashing yourself, being a drug addict or being some user, once in a while, doing some stuff, partying a little bit. I think that's perfectly fine. But you got to put money in the bank, I think I don't like talking about religion too much. I'd rather even almost call it, what's the word I like to use for it? I'm just drawing a blank right now. Mythology. That's a word I like to use. Let's even just make it simpler. Stories. Stories about our existence and about who we are. So in these mythologies, in the Buddhist mythologies, Buddha, if you don't know the story about him, the thing that got him thinking was he saw three people. He saw a sick person, he saw an old person, and he saw a dead person. And that's really what got the wheels in his head turning, the wheels in his head started turning about suffering, pain, and suffering. And I don't know. I just lost my train of thought. That goes to show you, no brain, no pain. And that's okay, because I don't need to know and I don't need to try to explain everything. But there's very simple things that we can think about that govern our lives. Suffering is one of them. And just being aware, being able to stay focused. And it's okay if you forget things. I just forgot that, and it might seem like because I'm doing a podcast, I should be very focused and I should be walking this walk, but I'm just like you, and we are not perfect. We have faults, and it's okay. We don't have to be perfect. There's nothing to attain. We're good the way we are. We just have to get back on the bicycle when we fall off. I just fell off the bike. Oh, wow. I tripped up on my words. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm going to continue on because that's the only choice that I have to do. So the ego, the current state of humanity, that's where things are at, is what, where Eckhart Tolle says that it's at right now. People being identified with form. So I'm gonna quote on this. And back to the point that I was making before. I'm sorry. I need to focus. The wonderful thing about Eckhart Tolle is he's a regular guy. And these things, they're not something that we attain. It's more like returning to these things. They're already there. It's nothing that you have to learn. Absolutely nothing that you have to learn. Nothing that you have to memorize. If anything, it's the opposite. It's forgetting what has been indoctrinated on us and from what the television has brainwashed us with, just forget it. Just no brain, no pain. There's nothing to achieve. And what I think a word that I like to use is maybe a couple words. I got a couple words. Okay, I'm getting a little bit clear here. Maybe finding something or discovering this. This stuff is just, it's inside of you. All you need to do is just find it, rediscover it. Those 3 good words there: discover, rediscover, and find. Just find this stuff inside of you. And so a clue that you can look at is what a lot of people, a lot of successful people have in common is they take the time to look inside themselves. You look at these mythological masters, whoever they were, and they took the time to go out in the desert and meditate, to go out and, be a renunciant and drop all their worldly stuff and go out and take the time and find it. Look inside. That's all you have to do. It doesn't require you going to some temple and paying $10 or buying some certain book. It's right here. It's all right here. But you just have to be ready for it. You have to be ready to take the time and to look inside and realize what's going on and realize that there's only one truth. The only one truth is awareness. That's all there is. You put it in a nutshell. Just being aware that the only thing that doesn't change in life is awareness. But I'm jumping the gun. But you might already know this, so I'm probably preaching to the choir here. So, another thing, the next thing that, Eckhart Tolle says in this chapter is that the quicker you are in attaching verbal or mental labels to things, people, situations, the more shallow and lifeless your reality becomes, and the more deadened you become. Why do we have to know? We don't have to know this stuff. This is you know nothing. I know nothing. Think about the things that you know. There's only a couple things that I know. I've said this before in my podcast. I'll repeat it again. The only things that I know for absolute sure are I'm tired, I'm hungry, I need to go to the bathroom. There's a very small list of things that I know. I know that I'm aware. Think about the things that you know for absolute, and it's a pretty humbling situation. You don't need to know. You don't need to know. There's no need to know. There's certain things you need to know. You need to know how to do your job. You need to know how to feed yourself. You need to know just the basic necessities, basically. But all the other stuff, it's like, why? Why do we have to have all this knowledge? If it's for your job, I understand. Or if you're some incredibly smart person and you're trying to improve the conditions of the world, that's cool as well. But certain stuff, it's just, oh, I need to quote this person because I read all the American classics. Who cares? So he says that thing. The quicker you are to attaching verbal or mental labels to things, people, or situations, the more shallow and lifeless your reality becomes. We don't need to identify this. There's no need to know. It doesn't make us more. It doesn't make us smarter. They're just arbitrary thoughts. And if you think about something like certain things, it can only be one way. But with certain things, you could say, you tell a story. The mailman, came to the door and knocked on the door today. Look at it from their side of the story. They woke up, they brushed their teeth, and there's a whole different story going on there. And I know it's a stupid little story, but you look at things and you could tell a story from a billion different angles. So why limit ourselves to just one by just saying this is what it is? We don't need to know. Just drop it, let go. There's no need to know. There's not going to be a test at the end of this or at the end of life. It's okay to not know. It's more relaxing just to admit it. I don't know. I don't know any of this stuff. There's very little that I do know. Eckhart Tolle, he explains that, that there's the basic sounds, A, E, I, O, U, and that, the alphabet the alphabet, you use the alphabet to write words, and we use words to describe things. Of course, we have to use words to describe things. It's like you're just going to point at that. Give me that. What? This? No, give me that. No, what this? No, not that. Give me the shoe. So obviously it's helpful that we agree that this is a shoe, and that's what it is. But some things, you can be out on a walk sometimes and someone says, oh, that's a beautiful Pittacus blah, 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 blah. And they use some scientific word to describe a rose or to describe a tree, and thinking that that's what it is just that word. And because you know it, you get this little honor badge or something like that. It just kind of covers up what it really is. You put this label on this flower or this tree, and you just put it in a box, and it limits it. And thinking we need to label everything so we know, okay, this goes there, that goes there. We don't need to know that. And it just like he stated, it just it deadens our reality when we have to label everything, all the things, all the phenomena and miracles of life. We don't need to do that. Yeah. Just as to use words just so we know what we're talking about. That's a shoe. Yes, that is a shoe. Yeah, that's a rose. That's a rose. But that's not really what it is. And just being aware of that, because when I'm out walking, I just like to experience things. If you have this internal dialogue going out, you're out on a walk, and sometimes you go out on a walk and your mind's really busy, and it's just nice to reconnect with nature. Usually by the end of the walk, if you have a good walk, your mind starts to get silent. So it's okay to be making those comments and stuff, but just being aware that inner dialogue is going on, and just that it's really covering up the beauty and mystery and the miracles of life, trying to think that we know what's going on. We don't know, and it's okay. We're all in the same boat. Eventually, time is an angel or devil, best friend or worst enemy.